It's Frank Corfield, and originally from Birmingham.
What made you decide to go to art college?
The trigger was running. I took up long distance running, and you don't just run, you think. The thoughts from my mind was maybe I ought to change my life and get away from the City of Birmingham Water Department. Well, I've mostly exhibited in Wales, which is where I live now, and it's mostly local places really, but I suppose, yeah, I've had one show in London where I've showed at the Royal Academy, and just as a group show, of course. It's a question of going fishing, really, isn't it, with these open exhibitions and whether you catch one or not. And sometimes I go for it, sometimes I don't. I've never, I've done quite well with them in the past, but I think nowadays there's a greater amount of people that do appreciate art now, and so the market's bigger, perhaps.
What sort of work are you working on now?
Perhaps smaller works like watercolours and maybe postcards in size. Maybe at some stage I'll put together a little exhibition based on those. The other thing I can do with them is take them forward to larger pieces. I've done that in the past as well. So I started off with a little watercolour, but then that's become a larger work. I've remembered, so I'm working from memory as well as from the original work. And maybe the old photograph as well.
Anyway, so you were featured on a TV programme. How did that come about, and how did it all work out?
Well, in Wales, they have a thing called an Eisteddfod, and I had rather a lot of work in that, and because of that, they're interested in my work, and they got in touch with me, and we went out. I paint mostly in the field. I went out in the field, up in the hills and stuff, and they based a programme on me painting. Yeah, it's all very immediate, so as you say, I paint quite quickly, so I might do 3 or 4 works, and then between maybe one of those 4 I'll take further.
Do you ever get commissions to do works?
In the past I have done, yeah.
What sort of commissions would they be?
Yeah, there's a ruined house, so it was like a family house that became ruined, and he wanted a painting of that. Yeah, that would be on canvas. I think I'm keener now on watercolour, really.
So, do you have a studio that you actually do on your larger paintings in your house there? I can't remember what you got. I mean, I remember in the attic there you had sort of storage of paintings and stuff, but do you have a studio where you sort of, put it all together, as it were? I
do, yeah, out in the garden, a huge shed, and then I built another shed as well. Quite keen on sheds, but I guess the real studio is out there in the wild, in the outdoors. But I've worked in, Sweden there, and I've taken hot water out to paint a watercolour, and by the time I've gone outside, the water's actually frozen on the watercolour.
Okay, so and did the water manage to dry? Because with watercolour, you're obviously going to get one layer of it dry before you can start with the next layer, otherwise it goes all muddy.
Dry, it didn't even unfreeze.
Did it just sort of freeze onto the paper?
That's right.
Oh my goodness. Have you been painting in lots of different countries then?
I was going to say, when I was going over to Sweden, I was painting on the boat, and the only way to keep warm was to put my hand by the, the sort of chimney from where the sauna came. So I kept warm my hands on that. So you have to find ways to keep warm.
You're obviously very committed to your painting, and some say you should be committed. Yeah. So you got a canvas in front of you. What's your process when you get started there?
There's a phrase called formal elements. I don't know if you're familiar with that phrase.
No, enlighten me.
I often tell the kids performing elephants rather than formal elements. There are words like structure. That's the thing you need to get going straight away with the paintings. The structure means where, if you're doing a landscape, where the sky is, where the land is. So where's that line? Where's the horizon line?
Do you do it just based on what you see, or do you actually sort of say, okay, well, I'm going to choose a particular here because I can see some really nice diagonals in there. I want to get those in.
It can be massive. I might paint in front of me and then turn 180 degrees and paint behind me as well, and add what's there. If there's something there that really attracts me, that goes in as well. Or when I get back to the studio, then I might add something else. For instance, once there was it was a beach scene. Got it back. Beach was empty, looked a bit lonely. And I think that night on telly, I saw these immigrants that had were found drowned on the beach in Spain somewhere. I thought it was strange, sort of seeing people lying on the beach dead, when people normally lie on the beach enjoying themselves for their holidays. And so I put these figures in on the beach, so I did the figures on the beach, which I don't normally do, but it's something I did do, something I wanted to express, I suppose. I suppose some people understood what was going on in the picture. I do try and tell a story. Houses for me, I often try and put a house in the picture, and that's like security perhaps. A horse might be my father because he was a jockey and stuff like that. So there's some things that are personal to me that go in there, but also sometimes I try and tell more of a story. If you like, there's this nice landscape, but bare. And then right at the end of the session, a pirate boat came across the bay, bright yellow and black, and it's just what I wanted to add to my picture. Things have happened like that in the past. I've had a swan come into the picture, and I think Another day I had an aeroplane just come just at the right moment, just at the end, just where I wanted it. I think it's always there. You always find what you're looking for, and it just helps the painting really. I think once, you know, as you say, I worked quickly. I slapped onto these seagulls or something. I think it was birds rather than anything else. Went in the exhibition and somebody thought there were horses flying in. So I really liked that painting with the flying horses in the sky. And I didn't argue about it, you know, just took it as that. And I went to look at it later. I saw, yeah, perhaps there were horses rather than birds flying in the sky.